This is an unexpectedly quick follow-up to a video we did earlier today about a bombshell leak exposing the serious tensions between Elon Musk and Donald Trump's cabinet. Well, earlier today at the Oval Office, reporters asked Trump about that bombshell leak, prompting Trump to get triggered and lash out at the reporter asking the question before trying to unpersuasively convince people that there are no tensions. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we will refresh ourselves on the details of that very tense cabinet meeting. But first, I want you to see what happened when Trump was asked about it. It's not good.
Mr. President, since you last spoke about it yesterday, some details have come out about your cabinet meeting with Elon Musk and some clashes potentially between Secretary Rubio and Secretary Duffy.
No clash. I was there. You're just a troublemaker. And you're not supposed to be asking that question because we're talking about the World Cup. But Elon gets along great with Marco, and they're both doing a fantastic job. There is no clash.
But Mr. President, bottom line.
Who are you with?
NBC.
Oh, no wonder. That's
Mr. President,
NBC.
Who has more authority, Elon Musk or the cabinet secretaries?
Any other questions about the World Cup?
Can we unveil the truth?
I'd love to.
Because this is something.
So Donald Trump getting triggered about a perfectly reasonable question, trying to duck the question, saying that you're not allowed to talk about it, mocking the reporter for being employed by NBC, saying that you're a troublemaker for asking questions about a credible New York Times report from a very credible journalist. What this is going to do is further the notion, whether it's right or wrong. I suppose it's possible this report is wrong, but the way Trump handled this will only further the notion I would argue corroborate evidence we've seen elsewhere that there are serious tensions between the president and the shadow president, Elon Musk. Again, as a reminder, this is from Maggie Haberman, one of the most well-connected New York Times reporters or reporters, period, in Trump world. And I believe Jonathan Swan co-wrote it as well. Yeah, Jonathan Swan and Maggie Haberman, okay? So two of the top tier in this field. And it's based on, conversations with at least 5 people who had direct knowledge of what happened in that meeting. All right, we won't go through the entire article again, but just as a reminder, Marco Rubio was incensed. Here he was in the cabinet room of the White House, the Secretary of State, seated beside the president and listening to a litany of attacks from the richest man in the world. Seated diagonally opposite, across the elliptical mahogany table, Musk was letting Rubio have it, accusing him of failing to slash his staff. "You fired nobody," Musk told Rubio, then scornfully added that perhaps the only person he'd fired was a staff member of Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. Rubio had been privately furious with Musk for weeks, ever since his team effectively shuttered an entire agency supposedly under Rubio's control, USAID. But in the extraordinary cabinet meeting on Thursday in front of Trump and around 20 others, the details of which had not been reported before, Rubio got his grievances off his chest. Musk was not being truthful, Rubio said. What about the more than 1,500 State Department officials who took early retirement and buyouts? Didn't they count as layoffs? He asked sarcastically whether Musk wanted him to rehire all those people again, just so he could make a show of firing them again. Then he laid out his detailed plans for reorganizing the State Department. Musk was unimpressed. He told Rubio he was, quote, good on TV, with the clear subtext being that he was not good for much else. Throughout this, Trump sat back in his chair, arms folded, as if he were watching a tennis match. And then I want to read one other segment again to put this into perspective. Well, I'll read this one too, again, also put it in perspective. It's unclear what the long-term impact of the meeting will be. Musk remains Trump's biggest political financial supporter. Just this week, his super PAC aired $1 million worth of ads that said, "Thank you, President Trump," and Musk's control of the social media website X has made administration staff members and cabinet secretaries alike fearful that Musk will target them in public. And then I want to read one other part here. Oh, the big one was Sean Duffy. Just moments before the blow-up with Rubio, Musk and the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, went back and forth about the state of the Federal Aviation Administration's equipment for tracking airplanes and what kind of fix was needed. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, jumped in to support Musk. But Duffy said that young staff from Musk's team was trying to lay off air traffic controllers at a time when we are seeing planes fall from the sky. "What am I supposed to do?" Mr. Duffy said. "I have multiple plane crashes to deal with now, and your people, DOGE, want me to fire air traffic controllers?" Musk said that Duffy told Duffy that his assertion was a lie. Duffy insisted it wasn't. He'd heard from them directly. Folks, this is stunning, stunning stuff. And again, Trump's answers to these questions, not convincing at all, only going to further the perception, whether he likes it or not. I also want to point out play some clips here from Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, who apparently has been on the phone daily with Elon Musk. Earlier today, he went on Fox News to try to defend Elon Musk and his involvement with the government, and some of it was really, really creepy and really sinister.
Patently absurd for them to say this has anything whatsoever to do with race. It has to do with government largesse. The government is too big, it does too many things, and it does almost nothing well. And so what Elon has been able to do is crack the code. I mentioned earlier that Congress has not been able to do its oversight responsibility for decades because the bureaucracy has been hiding the data. I mean, we didn't know that USAID was funding transgender operas in Peru. I mean, obviously, everyone would have struck that down. So Elon has gotten inside. He is algorithms crawling through the data, as he says. The data doesn't lie. And the American people are with us on this.
No, they're not. The polling is squarely against you. The American people are with cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. They are not with DOGE in reality, DOGE in practice. It's unpopular in poll after poll after poll. Elon Musk is hemorrhaging support. But listen to the sinister terminology. Elon Musk has algorithms crawling through the data. What data? Your social security number, my social security number, your home address, my home address, your tax information, my tax information. Remember all the videos that we've discussed? Court filings of DOGE getting unprecedented, disturbing access to social security information, to treasury information, to banking information. Jesus. Sinister, truly sinister stuff. And also, while Donald Trump and Mike Johnson are scrambling to save face in various ways, then you have top MAGA influencer and admitted enemy of Elon Musk, but a very smart guy, Steve Bannon, saying the truth, telling the truth about DOGE. This idea that they can cut $2 trillion, $1 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse. Even Steve Bannon calls that out as bullshit.
It would obviously help if we had our arms around where DOGE stands right now, where they really stand. On the numbers, and we have to get to that number. The sooner you get to the number, the better we're all going to be. And I think for this audience and for the president, I think before any deals agreed to on the clean CR, that there's going to have to be some indication. I'm just asking for a first cut. You know, not going to hold you to the number. Give it, is it 25 billion to 50 billion? Is it 100 billion? Is it 10 billion? I really don't care what the number is right now. What it is. The absolute number, just let's drive a stake in the ground. I've said before, and this is not a smear on DOGE, I love what DOGE is attempting to do. But the waste, fraud, and abuse is not going to be $1 trillion. It's just not going to be. Just not. And we have to, this is all important. We got to cut federal spending.
So again, you have Steve Bannon, of all people, you know, the guy who tried to prop up the notion of the big lie, right? It's not like he's, it's not like he's unwilling to lie in Donald Trump's defense, but he's saying this is bullshit, that even if they were firing on all cylinders, they would never make their target because there's just no evidence of $1 trillion or $2 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse, no matter how many transgender operas you think exist in USAID. And also point out, as fact checkers have noted, the so-called accomplishments of DOGE, lackluster at best. Trump and the Department of Government Efficiency. Trump claimed the Department of Government Efficiency, the initiative led by Elon Musk, has, quote, found hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud. This figure, which is uncorroborated, needs context. As of the day of Trump's address to Congress, DOGE claimed on its website that its work had saved an estimated $105 billion for taxpayers, but it hasn't provided evidence to corroborate a figure that high. DOGE has listed about 2,300 contracts it claimed to have canceled across the federal government for a total claim savings about $8.9 billion. It also listed nearly 3,500 grants it claimed to have canceled for a total claim savings of about $10.3 billion. But it provided no links or documentation for those cuts, and it listed about $660 million in savings from canceled government leases. DOGE's public tally has been marred with errors, and it has been repeatedly changed in recent weeks to remove some of contracts identified as flawed by CNN and other media outlets, including a previous claim that it had saved $8 billion by canceling a contract that was actually worth a maximum of $8 million. Its website's so-called wall of receipts has included contracts that were canceled during previous presidential administrations. Musk and Trump allies have claimed DOGE's work is aimed at targeting waste, fraud, and abuse, but DOGE has not released evidence that the contracts it canceled were fraudulent. At least some of the cuts have been reversed amid criticism. It has been a catastrophe, an objective failure in practice. So again, fascinating stuff. Again, to see the insecurity once again plastered all over Donald Trump's face in his voice as he gets triggered and lashes out at a reporter. You're a troublemaker. How dare you ask me that question? You're not supposed to ask that question. Who do you work for, CNN? Whatever, we're not going to listen for you. Pathetic. And it's only going to fuel the perception that Elon Musk is the shadow president and Trump is too intimidated to do anything about it. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.